In New York, I'm joined now by our diplomatic correspondent, Mike Wagenheim. Mike, good as always to see you. It does seem significant, Mike, that Benny Gantz met with Avigdor Lieberman, the head of the Israel Beitenu party, right after meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu. Lieberman, of course, known as the kingmaker in this round of elections, as Owen mentioned in that report, and the previous round back in April. What do you make of Gantz's statement today after he met Netanyahu, saying no tangible progress has been made?
I don't think anybody expected any tangible progress to be made. Both of these gentlemen, Gantz and Netanyahu, need something completely different out of these negotiations, and there doesn't seem to be much of a middle ground between the two. Netanyahu needs to be the prime minister. He needs to stay the prime minister, not give up the role, not give it up in a second turn in a rotation agreement. He needs to remain the prime minister until he's through with his legal difficulties. Meanwhile, Benny Gantz can't be seen at this point, regardless of a looming third election, as capitulating to the demands of Netanyahu and his right-wing bloc and allow them to take control, to take the steering wheel, as he put it in his statement today, and continue to drive the direction of the country. So there's no really meeting in the middle there. You're either the prime minister or you're not the prime minister, and therefore there isn't a whole lot more to discuss at this point between Gantz and Netanyahu personally.
Mike, on the international front, as always, when Netanyahu is between a rock and a hard place, he pushes forward even stronger on the diplomatic front on the global stage. And today he met with the U.S. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin in Jerusalem, of course. Earlier, met with Jared Kushner, Trump's close advisor and Middle East affairs. But Benny Gantz, the chair of the Blue and White Party, also met with Kushner. Is that significant, Mike, in the sense that the Trump administration might also be looking at Gantz as a potential prime minister?
There's no doubt whatsoever, and it seemed for the longest time that the bond, the friendship between Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu was unbreakable. We heard Donald Trump rooting on Benjamin Netanyahu very verbally and very strongly during the election back in April. But as things started to head toward the September redo of the election, we started to hear some different rhetoric from Donald Trump in terms of my relationship is not with the prime minister, it's with Israel. America's relationship is with Israel, regardless of who is running the country. And it was a definite change in tone. Now we're seeing that the Trump administration is preparing to lay the groundwork to work with whoever is a prime minister. Notice one thing, though. Jared Kushner, a longtime friend of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, he gave a fairly warm handshake to Benny Gantz, a professional handshake. He embraced Benjamin Netanyahu. Don't let that go unnoticed. That's a big difference in the relationship as far as Jared Kushner is concerned.
All right, our Mike Wagenheim, our eyes in New York. Thank you, Mike, for joining us this hour.